Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we have yet again another Warlock video, and honestly with this guy, every time I touch this guy I'm more and more impressed. So first fight we're going to be checking him out against a 6-1 aspect of war node. As we all know, it's a really annoying node, one of the more annoying parts, and every time he throws his special attack he's supposed to go unstoppable. Obviously he's also supposed to gain his away charge, and eventually he's meant to go unblockable. However, when facing against Warlock we can see that no unstoppable triggered. Even though that away triggered, he didn't evade a single of my hits. This time unstoppable did trigger, so we are going to take a few hits in block while he's not unblockable, right? Right, he's supposed to go unblockable though, but will he? We're gonna see that in a second, that he's gonna get the unblockable kind of HUD activate, but not much is going to happen there. So he once again trigger his passive evade buff, but he just cannot evade us. At this point his ability accuracy is reduced by 90%. We can see that that a red icon popped, and I'm technically not supposed to be able to block any of his hits, right? No, Warlock can block even though he is meant to be unblockable, and we don't have to deal with that unstoppable as well. So aspect of war, not a problem whatsoever for Warlock. And man, this guy is just so fun. And next fight I'm going to be checking out is from 6-5, and that's going to be this Magneto with Chaos and Aggression Regeneration and all that other stuff, right? And now we can see how Warlock does against him. So first of all, I already showed a video that Warlock is not really kind of affected too much by ability accuracy reduction. Maybe your parries will fail, but so be it. Your infection charges will work as normal, undisturbed by magnetization or any of that kind of stuff that you would find Magneto typically good against robots. Warlock just does not care. Obviously, aggression regeneration combined with infections pretty much do absolutely nothing for him. Also, we can notice that more often than not, Magneto is not even getting any buffs from Chaos Node, so we don't have to worry about too much there as well. And we can just completely have absolutely free kind of fight without much worries. And this is supposed to be like a tricky kind of fight where you're supposed to be careful and it's not too easy to deal with. Now, I did eat a heavy attack there. That was my mistake. But as we can see, we are playing completely freely, super aggressive. And there is, yeah, not much to worry about at all in this fight. And we can see that Magneto goes down. And now for the last part of video, the longer part of the video, just to show exactly how insane is Warlock, we're heading in 6-6, and we're going to be going down the center path, and we're going to be using Warlock for every single fight just to show exactly what he can do to opponents, nodes, and basically how effective his ability accuracy reduction really is. So first of all, start SpiderMan fight. There is nothing kind of like too much to demonstrate. It's an easy warm-up fight. Only thing that we do need to pay attention to is that he can pretty much never evade me, and I don't worry about it. I don't try to play only under kind of parry. I go super aggressive at this guy. I let all the kind of like Warlock's goofiness and aggression rip. At this point he has 3 infections, so he pretty much has no ability accuracy. We also randomly just drop our level 2 attack. He does not evade that. Chain a couple of heavy attacks to that to place some bleeds, deal more damage, and we can see that this stack Spider-Man is going down actually relatively quickly. One of the common things that people say about Warlock, he hits like a wet noodle, and fair enough, like with Suicide Masteries, he's not the hardest hitter, but he's not meant to be, but the sheer kind of aggression and the dominance of the fight kind of makes up for it, and these fights do not last long whatsoever. So next fight is going to be quite an interesting Hyperion, who is more or less immune against like nullify effects, right? However, Warlock's passive ability accuracy reduction will show some tricks in this fight as well. So first things foremost, we do need to get to a couple of infections. Also, I wanted to add in this video that in case you do not want to kind of use a spot for cable synergy in order to be able to get more infections on opponent, you can always just spam tech power boosts, and if you are able to spam more of your level 2 attacks, you will also be able to maintain a healthy number of infections on opponent. So yeah, Currently, I am using cable synergy, but you can just get past it by using tech power boosts. And as we can see here, Hyperion is not really getting his power gain, is he? And what is Hyperion without his power gain? Absolutely nothing. He's pretty much of a wet noodle of an opponent with easy to wait special attacks. So we can see that Warlock absolutely dominated this fight. There was no kind of obscene special baiting or worrying about Hyperion getting level 3. Hyperion simply did not get pretty much any power gain buffs. And obviously next fight is Iceman, as we all know, on this path. And well, another thing that Warlock is immune against, obviously, is Cold Snap, so we are not going to be getting any Cold Snap damage. But what is another annoying thing when it goes to dealing with Iceman? It's his Ice Armor and the fact that he can shrug off your stuns, right? But what happens if Iceman is infected? That Ice Armor does not really reform there, so we are pretty much free to play as we would play against any other normal opponent. We do not have to really pay attention to that timer too much. So long as we have decent amount of infections on him, yeah, basically he does not get his Ice Armor back, so we don't have to worry about our parry stance being shrugged off. And once again, we are absolutely dominating that fight, being super aggressive, pushing him against the wall, maintaining our infections, and just, yeah, making him into a vanilla easy opponent that has pretty much nothing going for him. And next fight is going to be Blade, I believe. Let's just swiftly move on to that one as well, and let's see what's going to happen there. Now, it's definitely worth mentioning that I am running also Captain America Infinity War synergy, and it is quite useful just to help us be even more aggressive. But you can maintain pretty much the same results without it. You'll just have a few more special attacks to bait out. But anyways, against Blade, so well, first things first, Warlock is immune to bleed, so if we do mess up and eat a special attack, so that would be beneficial. But Infection can also shut off Blade's heal, because it's quite annoying at times that if Blade goes kind of into a block mode, and if you end up tapping his block a couple of times, he can regenerate a lot of health in a fairly short amount of time. But now against Warlock, actually, there is that one kind of ironic thing. You would kind of prefer if he did try to regenerate at times, but nonetheless, his regeneration is shut down. We're going to see that right here in the video. He did not trigger his regen, and I'm going to try and trigger it in a second once again. So I just need to try and get him to a blocking stance. Unfortunately, he did not want to do it here, but I do believe I will accomplish that in just a second. So here we go. He's blocking, he has power, he's under 70%, but he has no regen going for him. Why? Because his ability accuracy is reduced by a lot. And so once again, Warlock can absolutely dominate these kind of fights, and it's just so extremely fun. And just pay attention that pretty much all the damage that we have sustained has largely been from our recoil, and Warlock is just absolutely shredding through in the final, pretty much most difficult quest, or one of the most difficult quests that is available. And now you guys are probably thinking, magic on 100% power gain, can Warlock deal with that? But yes, he can, and without much hassle at all. The only difference here is initially I want to get a couple of parries in, just to stack a few infections before I actually push her past Bar of Power and she has a chance to trigger her Limbo. So as soon as I'm gonna get close to 2 infections, I will start attacking her, and then we're gonna see what's gonna happen. So we have pushed her past Bar of Power, but there was no Limbo. Perhaps it was just a coincidence, but she just threw her special attack and there was no Limbo once again. And now we're just being like super aggressive. I will make one small slip up in this fight. I'll accidentally eat a level 1, but that level 1 won't even be able to nullify my armor buff. And as we can see here, even if she did trigger her Limbo, she did not trigger her damage part of Limbo, because that's also kind of one of the things you can negate with ability accuracy reduction. But basically, yeah, we are fighting magic, and limbo is pretty much nowhere to be seen, and we're certainly not taking any limbo damage anywhere. So long as we have decent amount of infections, which is not too hard to keep up. Basically, all of these tricky opponents become kind of like vanilla without any abilities. And damn, that ability accuracy reduction is so effective. It's definitely something I well overlooked about my initial impressions of the character. As you can see here, it just absolutely shreds through nodes, champion abilities, everything. So yeah, magic went down, 70 hits, not hard at all. We didn't lose a single health point due to magic's limbo, even though she had like 100% power gain. And now we're going to be facing this void, and this void has unblockable finale on him, so that actually made him quite tricky. But let's just check out how Warlock will do against this lad over here, shall we? So one thing also, void, you do kind of have to keep an eye on your combo meter to make sure that you do not get his debuffs and you push past 10 hits, right? So here with one infection, he still triggered his one debuff, but we got it off fairly quickly. But now at this point, he's under 3 infections, and we pretty much never have to worry about a single debuff from Void again in this fight, because as we can see, all of them will fail anyways. So now we're just dropping a couple of heavy attacks, because why not, get some bleach damage going. And so at 25%, he's supposed to go unblockable, but now he's at 24%, and I can still block him. So yeah, it's kind of like super easy to deal with this guy with unblockable finale. Just make sure you have a couple of infections and you have a really good chance opponent is not going to go unblockable, and you can pretty much ignore the node. And next fight is also a fairly tricky opponent. It's going to be Gladiator Hulk on Mighty Charge. So it is a very kind of annoying combination, because whenever he dashes at you, he has a chance to go... Wait, no, it's not a chance. He's guaranteed to go unstoppable, and he will shrug off all debuffs. And then obviously you need to be careful of the smash attacks and all that stuff, right? Well, not really for Warlock anyways. So as soon as we're gonna get him in corner, as soon as we're gonna get a couple of infections on, first of all, we're gonna completely ignore all of his smash abilities. Also, Mighty Charge does not come in play whatsoever, because Warlock's infections are passive, and it also negates Mighty Charge later on, as we saw it just here. He did dash forward, but nothing happened. And yeah, as we can see, we also don't have to worry about his smash attacks or anything of the sorts. We're just baiting out his special attacks, immediately safely going back in, punishing them. As soon as you can see 4 infections, then opponent has exactly 0 ability accuracy, no matter what those abilities are. If you see 3 infections on opponent, then they still have a 10% chance to trigger them, but that's like very slim chance. But as we can see, Warlock literally just now has absolutely plowed through entire quest by himself, and all of these fights were like super easy, simple, hardly kind of an inconvenience, and quick as well. Yes, the hit count does go up, but it's largely just because of his level 2 attacks, and that they are a lot of hits, so he actually does a really good damage. And now for the last fight's Corvus, and against this fight there's not really much that you can kind of negate in terms of ability accuracy reduction. The only thing it is worth mentioning, that even if you do slip off and if your armor buff is active, we will not be taking any kind of crits from Corvus, even though those are guaranteed crits. So long as his armor buff is active, basically opponent's special attacks cannot be critical against Warlock, but we're still not gonna take the chance to eat it. But yeah, that will more or less do for today. Obviously, Warlock can't exactly deal with the champion just because his ability accuracy can be reduced. That node is annoying, but yeah, so we can see that Warlock is insane. I'm falling in love with him more and more, and obviously the cool animations and everything about character, it's really fun to play, it's really useful, it's definitely valuable. It's up there as one of the best tech champions in my opinion. Many people have asked me which one do I prefer, Warlock or Sentinel, and I'm still kind of slightly hesitant to take away top robot spot from a Sentinel, but it looks like Warlock definitely is heading to be the best robot in the game. But anyways, guys, that will do for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the buttons, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya.